being a father that doesn't get to see his kids very often, I can relate to a lot of people. It doesn't have to be fathers. It can be mothers too, because there's a lot of mothers that don't see their kids. So this isn't just a gender thing. This is a single parent or it can be the parent that lives with them or the parent that lives without them. It doesn't really matter. It has nothing to do with who spends more time with the kids. But spending the last, not just a couple of years, decade, like 12 years, just working to pay child support and hoping to see my kids on the weekend. That's what my life has been. My escape was my music and my sexual habits for a while. I mean, that's years ago now, but for a while those things got me through the struggle of work, and I couldn't, in my own head, I was too ignorant. Like, where I can't say now I can't, but at that point in time, I didn't think I could, be strong enough to get over that. But now, don't take this the wrong way, but this is important because a lot of people would get a lot of power back and actually be better parents by realizing that you have no obligation to be a parent. Now, of course, I think every person who has a child should want to take care of their child. Yes. But not every person who has a child wants a child with that person. The difference with me and other people is I wanted my kids with the people I had them with. And since I created them in love, I have nothing against the people that I had them with. I'm not with them anymore, yes. But when we had those kids, we were in love. And we had kids. And those kids deserve two parents who produced them together. So, as you get older, you start thinking about stuff like that. Those two parents produced them together. So, I hope this isn't, I don't know how else to say it without sounding somewhat gross. But let's think of a man who masturbates or a woman who masturbates or a woman who has sex, okay? A man who masturbates comes thousands of times in his life. And a girl who's sexually active after a certain age has had she's been came-in hundreds of times, okay? I'm not trying to sound gross. But it's not that every time a guy busts a nut in his shower, it was all that meaningful. And it's not like every time a girl had someone come in them, it was meaningful. Now, if you put those two together and say that one dude, instead of busting in the shower, busted inside a girl, well, hopefully those two people were in love. And if they were, they should step up and definitely love those kids together and work together because they made them together. Now, I don't think that two people who have kids that didn't know each other very well and had it through an accident shouldn't step up and be parents. That's fine. But if they didn't get to know each other and weren't ever in love, I don't expect them to try that hard to work together for the kids, but at least be civil. Something along those lines. But if you once loved somebody, you shouldn't treat them like nothing if they've done nothing wrong to you. Over your personal opinion, you should never turn them against your kids, or turn your kids against them, or attempt to do such things, or just make it difficult for the other. Any of those above, But even after saying all that, now you get to the part where it's the kids and the parents. You can be a parent who, when my kids were young and they had no say, and I'm not saying my kids are totally making all their own choices now. They're 8, 10, 13, 15, 17, and 20. A couple of them, they're old enough to definitely make their own decisions. But a few of them don't completely have much of a grasp on what they're doing at all. Especially when they're living with moms who are just all over the place, dating guys, worried about that kind of stuff, not spending any time getting to know their kids, being a parent to their kids, okay? I want that. The parents, okay, in my situation, the parents that have the kids don't want that. They don't want the everyday interaction. They're just together with them. They live there. Okay, now what? What do I do for me? It's not that. The kids aren't old enough yet. You don't just worry about you. You worry about the kids. And I'm not saying only, but somewhat. So now you get to the second part where the kids are making somewhat decisions and you're trying to be a parent and the kids are choosing not to be with you and you're driving yourself nuts as a parent. Well, you have no obligation to be a parent. Whether the kid is young, whether the kid is old, it seems like it's so heartless when the kid's a young child. And to me, I think you should step up and be a parent. So I'm not saying to leave a young child parentless, but if the parent isn't there and the child is alive, he's going through something and he's okay, he's alive. He should be with the parent who cares. I mean, there's a lot of weird stipulations and situations that go in that whole thing with kids and parents. But what I'm saying is that other than if you planned your kids and you brought them in the world, you should damn well be obligated or try to be a good parent. When it gets to the point where your kids don't want to interact with you, you're not obligated to be a certain kind of parent. You do what you can, and that's all there is to it. You can't go any further than that if they don't want to be involved. So you really have no obligation to be a parent after a certain point, and really at any point, but you should, because when you have a child, you should have either, one, if you had it because you wanted to, then you love the child whether you stay with the other parent or not. And two, if you are irresponsible, then you step up instead of being ignorant because you were immature and didn't plan your actions very well. There's keys to that whole system, and that's what I wish people understood, instead of thinking everyone should be the same exact kind of parent or child.